All right. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are on this beautiful planet. Welcome to the Inner Circle Live pre-New York session. I'm your host for this morning's session, Benny Allen, along with my awesome partner, Mr. Ryan Carthage. And we're definitely happy and grateful for you being here with us this morning as we take a look at the technicals and the fundamentals to see what we can take advantage of in this Forex market. So without further ado, let's make sure that we turn off any and all distractions, grab a pen and paper, take lots of notes, and let's make sure that we participate and engage. So if you can hear me loud and clear, do me a big favor, drop me a one. Let me know that you're here with me this morning, and we can get this session going. All right, Yasina, Benit, good morning to both of you. And we are going to get this thing going. Give me 1 second. Good morning, Marshall. All right, got some folks logging in slowly. Reese, good morning. I hope everybody who celebrates Thanksgiving had an amazing Thanksgiving. It went by pretty fast, but got to eat lots of good food and enjoy friends and family. So, all right, we are right back at it, which today is going to be pretty light after the holiday, right? So, major holiday here in the United States, things kind of dragging along, market's kind of slow. But let's take a look at some of the things that we've had our eye on for the last, week or so, and possible new opportunities. So we will blaze right through this session this morning. Good morning, Joy. And then we will keep it moving. So clicking over to trading economics, right out the gate, German business morale improves less than expected. So the IFO business climate indicator for Germany rose to 87.3 in November, slightly below the market consensus 87.5. Nevertheless, sentiment reached its strongest level in 4 months as companies became less pessimistic about their expectations for the coming months and their current business situation. So we'll continue to keep an eye on that. Of course, European stocks muted on a Friday. This one here is pretty interesting. U.S. Treasury yield rebounds after Thanksgiving, right? So the yield on the U.S. 10-year note edged higher to 4.48%, rebounding from 2-month lows as investors return from Thanksgiving to a shortened day of trading, and bet interest rates will remain elevated for some time. Recent FOMC minutes showed the Fed will keep monetary policy restrictive and will proceed carefully while providing no indication that interest rates could be cut soon. This is very, very important. Okay. S&P global PMIs due later in the day will provide the first update on the U.S. economic performance in November. Yesterday, fresh PMIs for the Euro area and Germany top estimates and showed a smaller contraction in both manufacturing and services activity, which together with Germany's suspension on borrowing limit pushed government bond yields higher. U.S. bond markets will close early on Friday, right? So it's going to be a short day, not too much activity for today. But across the board, I said this is pretty important in regards to no indication that interest rates could be cut soon, because you're seeing that across the board with central bankers. Okay, so investors are trying to figure out when those cuts are going to come. Central bankers are saying there's no time right now to even start thinking about cutting rates. I was reading some ECB data for some of the members of the European Central Bank. One member is saying, hey, no cuts anytime soon. One is saying it's a 50-50 chance between rate cuts early next year for the Euro, for the ECB. But you can also see it's 50-50 chance, right? Whether they cut them or it's a possibility that they could continue to raise. So those levels are going to stay pretty restrictive with the central banks, in my opinion, moving forward. So again, as we always say, you don't bet against the Fed, right? So I'm going to continue to follow the guidance from the Fed and not roll what investors want to see happen, which they want to see those cuts come in a lot sooner than later, but it doesn't look like we're going to get them. So that's that. Back to trading economics. Japan inflation rate highest in 3 months. So continue to keep an eye on that because they've held pretty steadfast with their monetary policy. But a lot of people are thinking if that inflation rate continues to stay high, if wages continue to grow, in Japan moving into next year, they're going to have to make a shift, right? But they've been saying that for quite some time. So we'll continue to monitor that situation in Japan. Okay. So that's really it. Let me take a look at moving over to the Forex factory. Uh-oh. There we go. For today, we've got flash PMI, like we just read, for the United States at 9:45. So their report's coming in at 9:45. President Lagarde spoke this morning. I have to check on that and see what she had to say. Oh, never mind, because here it is. So here's a quick feed coming in on X. ECB's Lagarde battle against inflation isn't over. We've already done a lot on rates, and now we can observe. So, no, that's the head of the ECB right there. No interest rate cuts coming anytime soon. So, just continues to follow the narrative with all the rest of the central bankers. All right. Any questions on the fundamentals? Nope, no questions. All right. Ryan, good morning, sir. How are you?
Good morning, bro. I'm doing well, man. How about yourself?
Pretty good, man. Did you enjoy your Thanksgiving?
I did. I did. We had a great time. Ate too much.
Man,
How about you?
I had an awesome time. So much so that I had to make sure I set 2 alarms this morning to make sure that I was waking up for the session. So, but yeah, we enjoyed it, and I hope everybody else did too. So, yeah, good times. Friends and family are always good to have around.
Absolutely.
So that's that. Anything on the fundamental front that you might have caught up on over the last couple of days? It's been pretty slow. It'll
The
be
only
slow.
thing that I really kind of dug into a bit was that Japan CPI continue to put pressure on the Bank of Japan um, to shift rates coming into the new year. So everything is on that side is coming into alignment with what we've been talking about over the past couple of months.
Got it. So, yeah, that's going to be interesting to see what they do because they're starting to get a lot of pressure, and I don't see those
Yeah.
wage rates going down either.
Nope. The large corporations are in line with increasing wages again. So the second straight year of that on top of the inflation piece, yeah, they're gonna have to make some changes, and it's all it's all falling into place.
Yeah, and looking at those yen crosses, you can see that this going both ways. It's going back and forth. You know, people trying to
Yep.
anticipate that move as we close out the year. So, yep. Yep. So let's dive into the charts. Take a look at the DXY, right? So we can move over, take a look at the weekly, and right, we can see that we're still bearish, right? But we've got some pushback, right? We're starting to get that pin bar at the bottom on the dollar again. We come over here and we see the US 10-year Treasury yield rebounds after Thanksgiving, right? And that's what you're seeing play out technically here on the dollar. So it's starting to push back a little bit, just a little though, right? So if we look at the daily, it's just moving sideways at this level here. So the dollar continues to move back and forth sideways after the huge move to the downside on the dollar. So that's where we are. I don't expect too much activity on it. Maybe depending on that report, but I don't anticipate too much on the Friday as we look to close out the holiday week. So, any questions on the dollar? No. All
No,
right.
sir.
All right. So it's typical, right? You get a huge move in either direction, and then you kind of get that pause, right? And the market tends to settle down, try to find some equilibrium. So moving a little bit sideways on the dollar. So let's jump right in. As a matter of fact, let's move down to the we'll look at this US dollar versus the Japanese yen. Taking a look at this move from a couple different angles. So we know long time ago, right? We moved up to that high, got above that 150, topped out of that 150, 194, came back down, and it's trying to make its mind up, right? It's pulled back since to test that 150 area. If we come down to the 4, it's been a forever play. Finally got the trend line break to the downside. Huge move, okay? Huge move on the 4-hour here. Okay. So this has potential to be a huge mover. That's why we're monitoring the yen closely to see what's going on. But that's a major move, right? So that's one that you kind of drip your trades in and you look to play that swing. That's going to take a while. That's not something that happens overnight. But we finally got that trend line break and we got a pullback. Okay. So this is the overall larger move. We do not have a 382, right? On this larger 4-hour fib. We moved up, we had to draw down, but look, it pushed right back down, broke our inner trend line. But look at what happens, right? After a major move, right? This came all the way down off the high, okay? Over 400 pips, and now we've got a pullback. That's to be expected. So there's smaller plays off of that, right? As we move down, because we know that the market is fractal. So just off of that pullback, right? If you move down through your charts, you see where it creates other opportunities, right? So all different type of ways to make money with the way we teach it. And you can see that huge move on the 4-hour, move down 400 something pips. But then after a while, right, the market moves in ways it has to pull back. So you can see that there was an 80-20 opportunity there on a 1-hour with the pullback, right? So out of that zone, okay, yep, we went down and draw down, didn't hit it, right? Didn't hit the stop, and then look at the correction back for almost 180 pips to that TP1. So the market always likes to take back, you know, a part of what it gains, right? Which creates the wave scenario. So let's continue to see how this plays out moving into next week. Don't expect too much today. Maybe it pushes up to TP2 going into next week. But the larger move is for that to move down. So let's continue to watch it. Any questions on the dollar yen? No?
No,
All
sir.
right. Okay. And you got a similar move like this with the yen crosses pretty much across the board when I was going through my charts. So let's take a look at this dollar Swiss, because this is one that we posted that's, you know, turned into a bit of a forever trade where that price action is struggling a bit, right? So we'll just go right here to the 1 hour, and we're trying to get a correction. Okay, so going into next week, it's going to be interesting with those bond yields creeping back up on the US 10-year. If the dollar can gain any type of momentum to push us to that TP1, right? So this is a simple one. This is a setup that has just moved sideways on us. But we haven't hit that stop yet, so it's still in play, okay? So this is an easy one. Any questions on the dollar Swiss? We're looking for a pullback to occur, like we just saw on the dollar yen on the 1 hour, okay? Looking for that B2C move, right? Out of that 80-20 zone. No questions? All right. Easy enough. We'll keep working our way up from the rear. This NZD JPY on the 30-minute, the smaller play. Let's go back and review a few of these. There was a 30-minute play that was sitting here right into that 80-20 zone, and you can see how we got the move, right? So we had a 39 pip stop loss on that. And this is like an example. We talk about how you can keep your stop losses tight, you know, putting it below the low, right? Prior to the trend line break. But you can see there, if you did that, you didn't get all of that move and you got stopped out. Right? You got stopped out on that if you had it right below that low. Okay, because look how price pulled back and then continued up. Okay, so you had a situation where if your eyes wasn't on the chart, you got stopped out, then you might not have had a chance to get back in for a secondary type of play, and you would have just missed it, right? So I leave that stop loss wide for the most part. And, you know, this one worked out pretty well, okay? So we got the initial break of the trend line, pushed back down, made a lower low, but look, we didn't hit that D extension and price reversed out. Okay. All right. Any questions on the NZDJPY? That was continuing to run long. We may take that A out on the 30. Nope.
No, sir.
All right. All right. All right. So that one was a pretty good move. Let me back out to see what's going on here. Again, those yen crosses continue to bounce back and forth. So when you look at it from the daily, all right, there's your overall long play. So it's just continuing to move towards that D extension at 94.58. And this is a structure play, right? So if you look, right, you got past resistance becoming future support in that zone, okay? And you actually have a new daily low here that held like so, okay? So this stochastic is actually back in the buy zone again. Those yens continue to bounce back and forth, and we can see here now on this 4 hour. Let me continue to zoom out. This is a sub fit running. Let me clean this up a bit. It's really just continuing to push long, right? So this is your overall swing. You see the D. You can see how we pull back right here to your 61.8 zone. Oops. How we pull back to that 61.8 zone up against that weekly support. And we've been long ever since. So that longer swing, right? Like how we said, hey, good play was long against the yens all year because they're not making any shifts in their monetary policy. So these are just that longer swing trade, right? That you have going on. Okay. So we trade a couple different ways here, right? It's finding those 80-20s, right? And that faster accumulation of pips, that compounding, and then you have that traditional swing trade, right? That traditional swing trade. So through all of this, right, we've got those 80-20 plays playing out, but the overall swing, you guys see, right, is that this is continuing to move long. Any questions on the NZD-JPY? It's a beautiful game.
No, sir.
All right. All right. So let's see if that continues to make gains. I mean, off that 61.8, right? Okay. Yeah, price at the edge of that 80-20 zone, push down. Then we made that C to D move. So if we get there, over 650 pips to that D extension if you're playing that long play. All right. So that's that on the NZD-JPY. Want to go 80-20 sell on the 15. All right. Seems like it's about due, right? It's been a long run. So this was the same play on the 15. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to clear this chart and scan it. Okay. So what we can do for the smaller setup is just push it along. Reese, you watching it off this fib here? The smaller one? Yep. Okay. All right. So we will. So we don't have it here yet either on this larger one, but we'll take a look at this. The smaller one that you have your eye on, right, so everybody can see it. You know what I'll do is I'll just completely clean it up like that. So there. Smaller 15-minute play. We don't have a 382, right? Go. So, same thing over and over again. Okay. Use your confirmations. Use your trend line breaks. Right? Wait and see. Right? Especially use your confirmations. Hey, we're moving a bit above that zone. We've got a whole series of green candles. It's pretty impulsive to the upside. So just be patient. Right? If you're seeing this, see it's starting to stall out a little bit. That's the setup. That's your setup right there. No matter what the time frame is. Okay? If you're using this method, that's what it looks like. Okay. So what is that? That's a 10 pip stop, right? Yeah, 10 pip stop on that. So see if we can get that price to make the correction. Yeah. Put a little box in. So we'll see if that wants to go our way. What is that? Off that level, like 18 pips, something like that. 18 pips there. Uh, 90.46, so like 25. 25. And that's that. Right? Decent little setup. Appreciate it, Reese. See how that goes. Any questions on this 15-minute setup? Reese gave us the alert. See how it plays out.
No, sir.
Okay. See if we can get that 382. All right. Moving on. I want to take a look at this pound NZD. So while this comes through, let me get everybody's opinion. Do we like, moving through the charts, finding these 80-20 setups consistently? Yes, no?
Yes.
Yes. All right. Appreciate the feedback. Yes. Yes. Love it. Yeah. Makes it simple, right? Makes it simple. All right. And then just use if you have it, the beneath. Yes, awesome. So if you have the smart analytics tool, just scan your charts. Just move down through the time frame, scan your charts. This was the 15-minute play that we had in the Discord. And so you can see, right? TP2 113 pips, right? Move straight down. So that play is over, right? It may be time for it to move to that C to D, but if that's not your play, Just play the 80-20, right? So TP1, TP2, 113 pips, right? On the money. Played all right. Okay. See all the yeses coming through. I appreciate it. So this one I played out too. The previous 80-20. So that's two in a row on the that one played off the crown. So that's two in a row on the pound NZD. And so we'll look at this higher time frame, see what's going on. Okay. Come in and take a look at the 4. All right. That was a previous 80-20, just hovering. Right. So we're catching it on all time frames, making money off that pound NZD, off that double bottom. So that's that. Any questions on the pound NZD?
Don't do flat one. I bet it's simple around here.
No.
No,
All
sir.
right. All right. Well, good. Take a look at this pound Swissy from a while ago. Just go through and review some of these that I had written down on my list that I know I needed to check on. This one was off the 4. Just continue to monitor that progress. That pound is moving strongest to Swissy. So here's an 80-20 there, right out of the zone, right? So we've gotten a TP2. All right, so that's 300 310 on that pound Swiss. So it's moving sideways a bit in the range, but I wonder if that's going to continue to push long. So just wanted to take a look at that one real quick. Any questions on the pound Swissy? Right, same play, same thing. Right? Once you go through your training, understand what we're doing, understanding that the way you can frame the market, you can see there's a larger picture, right? So you don't have to get caught in the weeds so much. Just see the bigger overall move is an ABCD wave, okay? And these are the critical zones, right, where the market likes to make a move. 118, 127 zone, and there's the swing. Yeah, simple as that. So that's the pound Swiss. Going in on our pound CAD, right? Continuing to watch that one closely on that C to D move that we caught. That was happening on multiple time frames, 4 hour, 1 hour, 30-minute. We can see here from the weekly that this thing is bullish. Okay, this is moving bullish. And so far, so good on this move. Here's our 4 hour. It doesn't get any better than this, right? We've got a key level. We came in 50, close to 61.8 on that. The market started to move sideways. You've got past resistance becoming future support, okay? In this area, past resistance becoming future support, trend line break, bullish engulfing candlestick that closed and broke the trend line. I would grade that an A+ if you are grading your trade, okay? So this is a C to D move with the trend, and we're looking to try to get to that 4 hour target, okay? You have your morning star type of situation on both, right? So decision to the downside, you got indecision in between, right? So we typically look at that as a 3-candle formation, but the concept is the same, where you've got decision, indecision, decision, decision, indecision, decision to the upside, okay? So we look for that to continue to move to that 173.15 on the pound CAD. That's on the 4 hour. If we come down to the 1, where we were taking a look at it a while ago, there's a clean trend line break again off the 1. And then if you come down to the 30-minute, you can see how explosive that move was, right? Lost my chart. Okay, so we had it drawn up on multiple levels, and it continues to move long. Any questions on the pound CAD?
No, sir.
Moving in, I want to take a look at this Euro USD. There was a setup on the 15. We'll take a look at it overall. So we can see here, we'll take a look at this daily. You see where we broke that trend line, right? Moving long, we're at this 109.50.45, right? Struggling a bit, but we're coming in here trying to form a low. Stochastics in the sell zone. This is going to be interesting to watch going into next week. Here is our 4-hour from ages ago. Okay. And that's why we believe, right? Hey, trade smaller, right? And the beauty of what we do is that it enables you to trade smaller and you still can accumulate pips and make good money because these are large moves, right? So we don't have to trade in this group at a crazy mega lot size because we have the skill set and the ability to accumulate pips, right? So as you gradually grow your account, then you can start to scale up your lot size, right? So the larger our account becomes, the bigger that 1% becomes, but yet it's still 1%. So if you just work, the beauty in trading, if you have a small account, you're trying to grow it, and hey, I'm only trading in, 1 or 2 micros right now, 3 micros, 4 micros, that's okay because what you're doing is you're mastering that skill set, right? So as you master your skill set, you're continuing to compound those pips, your account is continuing to grow. So by the time that you get to that large account, and now my 1% per trade means that I can trade at a standard and still only be risking 1%. Well, guess what? Now you've accomplished mastery. Now you're in the rhythm. Now you know what to look for on the charts. And then once what my mentor in chief used to say all the time is, once you get to a standard, you don't want to go back, right? And sometimes that's what we do. Yes, we're trading in micros, but we decide, you know what, on this trade, I'm gonna take it at $2, $3 a pip. I'm feeling good. And you leave your risk management plan, and then guess what? You get slammed, right? You get that huge dip in your equity curve. And now it's like you wiped out all your gains and you're back to square one. Has that ever happened to anybody? Yes, no? I know it's happened to me. Right? And then all that stuff starts to creep in, like, this game is rigged. Right? The game is rigged. Like, I don't know. Like, this is crazy. This is not for me. But then if you really do an honest assessment and you go back, it's like, man, you broke your rules. You broke your rules. You either left your strategy and went and looked for 6 different ones, or your risk management became too aggressive. And so just slow and steady wins the race. Slow and steady wins the race, right? Right. The season change, the seasonality, liquidity grabs, stop loss hunts, moving average crossovers don't work like they used to. When it's math, of course it works, right? It's a scam, right? Broker doesn't like it. You hear all of that stuff, and it's like we don't. A lot of times as human beings, we really the thing that we hate the most is to hold ourselves accountable, right? But we have to do it. So just slow us down, especially now with if folks are out here and you're trading with prop firms and things like that, they've even removed the time limit parameters on a lot of these with a lot of these prop firms. But one of the things that they're saying, and in their reports, is that even though they've removed the time frame parameters, traders are still blowing accounts at the same rate, if not faster. That's a fascinating statistic because it just goes to trade psychology. In the beginning, you thought somebody was watching your trades. Yeah, I mean, folks are happy you're thinking that, for sure. For sure, for sure. We all been through that. Like, man, it must be true, right? But if it is to be, so that's the Euro USD that's moving up. On the 15, this play here has since, let me see. This marked down. This 15-minute. Yeah, how that moved down, but it's still bouncing around here. Okay. So it's still hovering, but on the 15th, you can see it's still playing around that zone. So we had the drawdown, then we had the break, but now it's moving sideways. So let's see what happens going into next week with the dollar. I know we've got that report coming out today, but I don't know how much movement we're gonna get. Moving at being that the market is only open part of the day. But that's still, we haven't gotten to 382 yet. It pushed up in the drawdown, it rejected off that 109.60 level, and is right at that entry point for an 80-20. So I want us to really watch this going into the next week to see if we can get a move back down on the Euro USD. Any questions?
No, sir.
All right. Check it out on this Euro JPY. We're watching this one here. And these yens are just continuing, right? It is the story of the Japanese yen. I'm used to it now. So we got this breakdown, and now we've got price pulling back. So that moved down quite a ways, and now we've got a major pullback going on. You've got a 4-hour high sitting here on the 4, like so. This is just how these yen pairs move, man. They could drive you crazy. So we're getting this pullback. Now that's multiple fibs there. Let me go up to I want to go up to the daily. See what we've got going. Yeah, we're pulling back in the zone. This is a low. We've got a low here that's formed. This is going to be interesting because this is a sub fib here. I wonder if it's gonna continue to push up and take out that high. It might. Brian, what do you think? Because this is I wonder if it's gonna settle between this AB boundary right here.
These are so interesting, bro. I think that it could settle in and stay inside of the AB boundary. I think we might just start to see some sideways push.
Okay.
As we go back and forth here. Just because of where we're sitting on the higher time frames too. I think we could see just sideways push, and then before we get that full move to the downside.
Okay. Okay. So we'll see how it plays out, right? So just the ebbs and flows of the yen. So what I'm gonna do is, if it moves and takes out that high, then it's like, hey, I have to check my listening because I may be on the brink of getting stopped out on it. No, maybe not. I just see where my stop placement is. And this one. Like that. Plus I'm adjusting on multiple pairs going into the holiday break to look and see. But let's see what happens with this euro yen. Of course I want to see it move right to that 382. But we shall see. It's still in play technically, but let's see if it wants to, if it settles down within this AB boundary, or if it moves past that one. I'm gonna leave it there on that because I'm not in a position to buy that off this 4-hour chart because I need it to push lower. And so we want to see this 80-20 play out to the downside. And that's that on the euro yen for right now. Moving on to this euro GBP. I just want to run a check back on this because I actually spotted a play on on the 15, and I didn't get to post it, but I didn't trade it either. So I want to see what occurred on that. This is, oh yeah, that one went, I don't know. Was anybody able to catch this move? I saw it, but I didn't play it. Ryan, did you play this or no? It's moved to the
No,
downside
I
now.
didn't. I didn't play it. I'm still sitting in that long that's just bouncing and bouncing and bouncing.
Oh, this pair
So
is so
this one
terrible.
I just sat and just left it alone.
Yeah. So it gave us an 80-20 right out of the zone. This is this trade. And there's some people that swear by trading this pair too. Man, this trade is a mess, but you get me playing out of it. So here's the 80-20 move, and then we just move to a C to D push that's about to hit the D extension. This pair is all over the place. It's 4 hour. It's just become a mini disaster as of late. Started out beautifully on a C to D move. It actually got close. It actually got close to hitting that TP level. And then we pushed out. So we'll see if it gets to that D extension. So that's that on the Euro GBP. Moving on, I want to take a look at this Euro CAD. Watching this one off the 4. So this one is moving sideways. I anticipate a lot of sideways movement today, going into the weekend. But it's making some decent progress though. We finally got that push down, and now it's kind of just moving sideways. So kind of hard to read the markets when you got less liquidity coming out of a holiday, so you get some funny movement, but nonetheless, that one is still looking to play out. Any questions on the EuroCAD?
No, sir.
This one on this Euro Aussie, I am upset because it didn't push all the way into my zone, but we'll review it anyway. It was one that we were looking at that we actually drew up. And it just missed. Right? It missed the zone. So it happens, right? We got right up, but it respected that monthly resistance level. But the price action played out the way we needed it to. So that we're at a turnover. So when you come out with that monthly level, that's down 234 pips on that one. So that one didn't hit the zone, didn't hit our 80-20 zone, but it turned over. So I don't know if anybody was able to took a shot on that and played it or not, but just wanted to review it since it was on my hit list. So we'll continue to watch this one to see if it wants to settle, in the buy zone. Continue to watch the fundamentals and see how it goes. Any questions on the Euro Aussie? Man, that's a big miss.
Nope.
All right. Moving up to the Swiss yen. The 1 hour play on this one played out, right? But again, with these yen crosses moving back and forth, that's beautiful out of that zone. I'm not playing that. But the 80-20 on the 1 played out. Do 2 TPs, right? Straight out of that zone, right? You can't miss that one, right? But on the 4, there's a larger one that is kind of setting up just like these other ones where you're wondering if it's going to stay in the zone. And so here's this 4-hour play. This is a larger one that we got a beautiful push out of the zone. And now we're getting a major pullback. But we're right here at this 4-hour level. So that's almost identical, right, to that NZD JPY that we saw. So it's making the same move. So it's a matter of whether or not we hold in the zone. So if we go back to the daily, you can see that you've got the exact same thing setting up. And this looks like, man, this is retesting that high, that black line there, that all-time high that it took out. It's retesting that. So these, man, I don't know. I guess it's a coin toss at this point, whether or not they settle down or they push higher. I guess we're gonna find out. On this move. So, we've got the technical zone, right, where we got that's a monster reaction that we got. So it's a good play all in all, but we're looking for that larger move to play out. Like that move down almost 400 pips. So you can't be mad at that. But man, it can be hard to read these yens at times. So technically the setup is there. Fundamentally, I'm trying to think in my head, Ryan, besides, a risk-averse situation, I don't foresee the Bank of Japan making any type of move closing out the year. I could be wrong, but I'm trying to think of what the catalyst would be for this to continue to make that move down.
So December 19th is when the next policy meeting is.
Okay.
So kind of lead up to there. So, which I don't think they'll make any key decisions there. They might hint at something, but I don't think anything will be firm. I think it'll be more speculation than anything. So it'll be interesting to see how they move, man.
Yeah. Should be interesting. Should be. How do you think the Bank of Japan will let you get? I don't know, Marshall. That is a good question. A lot of times it's not exactly how high is the speed and rate in which it moves to a higher level. Am I right in saying that, Ryan?
That's actually what they reiterated. I think it was at the beginning of this month that it's not about the price point at all. It's all about the speed in which it goes in that direction. So if it continues to trickle along, give pullbacks and push, the price won't be the dictator of the change in policy,
right,
or any intervention.
Right. Yeah. Because I'm with you, Marshall, on that one. It's weak, right? The yen is weak. So we'll continue to watch it. But it's taking back a good portion of that move to the downside, which that it moved quite a bit. So we shall see what happens with the yen. I might have to continue to play around with that on those lower time frames till it makes its mind up. Get in and out on these yen plays. Smaller 80-20s like on that 1 hour that played out. Because based on this 1 hour move, that's trying to push to the D extension off that 61.8. Shall see. We shall see. We've seen crazier things before. We've seen the bottom just drop out of the yen on several occasions. So it's hard to tell. So that's the Swiss yen. This crazy cat yen. The initial move, the initial markup on this missed, at least the way I had it drawn up, and then it turned around and gave us exactly what we were looking for on the next setup. So just keep in mind that this longer play, right, for the long positional trade, longer swing on the daily is eventually seeing this move to that 114.06 level for 900 pips, right? But here on the 4, so we had a potential setup. This is all types of crazy. So we had a potential setup here, didn't play out. Never really even got a trend line break. It just continued to move down. And then you can see how it made a crazy reversal off the B boundary, right? We talk about alternating corrections and how sometimes if you get a continued impulse move in either direction and you don't get that pullback to at least a 382, then that very next fib, you can see how it makes up ground, right, for what it missed. So you guys see here how it pushed down. Okay. So that's why we always say, if you have a setup that misses, an 80-20 that doesn't play in your favor, continue to keep an eye on it, because oftentimes the next play, it'll give you a major reversal. So you can see here was our 118, 127 zone, our 80-20. It did not reverse how we had it drawn up. It missed to hit the D extension. But you can see how it continued to push down. And then that very next move, we got it to swing, okay? Now, that didn't represent an 80-20 here. What in the world? It didn't represent an 80-20 here. On the 4, what's going on? On the 4 hour, but on the 1 hour it did. Okay. So you keep your head in the game. So here was that miss, that prior fib that missed. We didn't get, okay? We didn't get that 382. It pushed down and hit our D extension. But on the next fib, look what happened. We came right down into our zone, and then we moved. Everybody follow me on that? Yes, no?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Okay. Mm-hmm. So when it comes to our trade psychology and our emotions, right? We keep our head in the game. Hey, it missed. It is what it is. I'm not a 0.5%, 1%, whatever I've got on the table, on to the next one, right? Because if you close that computer down and you're upset and you walk away, you miss the next setup, right? You miss the next setup that puts you in the profit. It makes up for that last one that you missed. We have to keep pushing, keep pushing, keep pushing, right? My football coach used to always say, you know what? Just put the ball down and go to the next play. Okay, you have to have a short-term memory and keep going. All right, so that's the CAD yen. And if it's time for it to continue, right, to that next level, which you can see here 1, 2, 3 times, right, it's range bound, okay? But eventually, right, if it's meant to be, it'll continue to carry. So right now, we hit the bottom of that range and we're reacting. So if it continues to push long, it'll take these 8 boundaries, it'll take them out and just continue to get long. Okay, here's that 110.52 level, right, that we keep running into. Okay, here's that larger move overall. These are just these smaller 80-20s, but you can see how it's ranging now. Right? That was an older 80-20 that we played. This is falling in line with that larger move from the higher time frame. But you can see how we're able, because of the way we mark up our charts, how we're able to make plays all over the place, right? So this one could very well continue. Inner outer trend line is broken. It may be time for that to make that run. That's the CAD yen. Let's move up, take a look at this Aussie dollar. This one on the 15, it just missed target and it U-turned here. This was the older setup. So this was a bit of a bummer, right? Didn't came out of our zone, and that came within a pip. I know I got stopped out on this one. Well, 10 pips, right? From the target. So that when you turned on is to continue to move up, and it's continuing to run long against the dollar. So that's that. Wanted to review that one real quick. It's an 80-20 adjustments target. Okay. Any questions on the Aussie dollar?
No, sir.
All right. This Aussie NZD. Still in play, right? So if you're still holding this trade, we're starting to get that move back down. Okay, so it's been bouncing around. That daily support level, that 107.80, which we've been talking about, which seems like forever now. It continues to respect that level, but it looks like it's trying to move back in that direction to test it again. So we'll see if we'll finally break through it. But that Aussie NZD is still one that has not hit the take profit yet. Okay, so if you haven't adjusted your stops and gotten stopped out in profit from all the back and forth, it is still active, and we're actually getting a reaction this morning. So any questions on the Aussie NZD? No?
No, sir.
All right, we're gonna wrap things up on this Aussie CAD. And this is a recent one that we posted. Still dancing around. Okay, so just a quick review on that one. Got an initial reaction, moving sideways, right? But we haven't hit that stop yet. And it's holding above a key, what is that, a daily level, right around that 89, 83, right around that entry. So continue to monitor that one going into next week. I don't know how much activity we'll get out of that one today, but that one is still hovering in that 80-20 zone. And while we're on here, let me go and take a look at oil and gold. So, all right, take a look at it on the daily. Okay, we got that little pop off that 61.8. We talked about that one last week. Clean that up. And we're kind of just moving sideways right now. Oil 1 hour. Just moving sideways. So I know we were talking about last week, right? If we were going to start to move long now off of this level. So I actually need to get this cleaned up because we spotted that 61.8 on the daily. I was wondering if we were going to start to gain some momentum. And we have, right? We got a pop and it's moving sideways. So we'll continue to monitor it. Any word on the OPEC meeting? Let me see, because there was an article today. So WTI crude future steadied above 76 a barrel on Friday after facing heightened volatility in recent sessions, but remained under pressure as a dispute among OPEC Plus members over output quotas clouded the supply outlook. Oil prices tumbled nearly 5% on Wednesday before paring much of its losses after OPEC Plus rescheduled its policy meeting to the end of the month as disputes arose over output quotas for African members, including Angola and Nigeria. Before the delay, analysts were suggesting that the group could extend or even deepen supply cuts to support the market. Signs of robust supplies, particularly from the non-OPEC countries like the United States, have also been weighing on crude prices. And the U.S. government data showed that the crude inventories jumped by about 8.7 million barrels last week, way above forecast for 1.16 million barrel increase. So that's that. It's like we got a delay. All right. Looks like we have a delay on that. We were talking about it last week that some reports, you're welcome. Some reports are calling for more supply cuts. And then you had a whole nother, I forget the other major organization that was saying the exact opposite. And that's why we were saying last week they both can't be right. But you can see it technically. You can see the mess playing out on the charts. Like that's all over the place. I mean, they respected our 80-20 zone here, and then we got a nice bounce off that daily 61-8 zone, right? See how it just stopped, hit the bricks at that level. You had some good confluence there. But since then, our stochastic has moved up, into being overbought, and we're moving sideways. So it just reflects that report, right? The back and forth. So who knows on oil right now? We'll continue to keep an eye on it. And then let's take a look at gold. Oh, well, before I do that, sorry everybody. Ryan, this NVIDIA, man.
Dude,
I did not play my cards right on this.
man, oh man, oh
It's
man.
up. It is up like a billion% this year off this AI. And,
Mm-hmm.
but that's an 80-20 on the subfield. So we might get this correction. But that has been all the rave in the stock market, their performance. And their earnings are crazy. And I don't think that's going to change anytime in the near future. I think that's going to continue to move along. What you think on that?
I was just about to say that exact same thing. I don't see it slowing down anytime soon.
Yeah.
I don't.
Yeah.
With the things that are happening in the background and the push that Microsoft and OpenAI is making, also the stuff that Elon Musk is doing with XAI. I don't
Yep.
see any slowing down in any of this.
No. So just wanted to review that one real quick. That one has been this is crazy. From 108. From 108. 87.16. All righty. Well, let's take a look at gold. You started with 20 on my portfolio and gained 47 on it. Man, congratulations. Good job. Good job, Joy. For sure. Taking a shot on that. It's that, man, that has been, yeah, for sure. For acting on that, definitely drop your sevens in the chat. Joy taking action on that stop. Okay. Gold. All right. We had drew it up. And it's played out long. Right. That was the move. So I mean, not too much to say other than dollar down, gold has been moving up, right? And so here's the 80-20 swing on gold. We did not hit that 1.618D extension. Shallow retracement less than 382 broke our B boundary. We got the swing and it's been pushing along ever since. So we'll continue to see what happens after this holiday weekend. Moving into next week. Yep. So that is gold. Any questions on gold? See if we can complete that ABCD move.
Yes, sir.
Yep. That's that. Why not take a look at this S&P? As we close out the week. I'd say that's long, right? Beautiful 80-20 swing. monster reaction off that daily support right at that 50% level, and it's gone, right? This was tracking that move to the downside, so I can eliminate these now. So we are continuing to move long. Expect a correction at some point, though. As a matter of fact, right? So we never even got this correction down to test that trend line. So we didn't correct off the B boundary, and now we're pushing up into this 80-20 zone. Okay, so I wonder if we can get to that 45.94 level and see if we get a correction back to the downside. So that's your 4-hour look on the S&P. Let's take a look at the one. So it just accelerated. We haven't gotten a major correction yet, everybody. So if we start to push up, if we get that move up to that 45.94 level without a correction, then that kind of plays into our 4-hour chart narrative on that 80-20 on the 4, the S&P. So let's continue to watch it. Take a look at the US 30. Similar to the S&P, right? You pretty much lay those charts right over each other for the most part. This one pushed deeper, right? And we're going long, right? So whereas your S&P got that move off to 50, this one pushed lower, but it reversed. It reversed. So let's take a look at our 4. Just like the S&P, we didn't get that correction immediately. We're pushing up into that 80-20 zone. We got that 35,513. That's a weekly level. So let's see if we can get price to correct next week. All right, that could be a decent play. Any questions on anything that we covered today?
No, sir.
Ryan, what you got before we close out?
Man, good people. Been a great week. Short week, but great week. We'll see you in the morning. Enjoy your Friday.
All right. Have a good day, everybody.